Good morning, good afternoon. I know John just got up, so I don't want to say good morning for him. But, my name is Mike Flager, pastor at St. Sabina, and we're here to celebrate a very important thing that many people have been looking and hoping for many years, and that is the Ring cameras. In a time when more and more people are concerned about their safety in their home and safety on their block, this camera rebate program will allow people who cannot buy it on their own to be able to get the cameras and get the rebate from the city, so allow them to feel that safety, allow them to feel secure in their homes and know what's going on in their block and in their home. We've seen this used many times to solve crimes in the past, and we think the more of them that are out here, even better for the future. So we're glad to have this here in Auburn Gresham, and the one behind this I'd like to welcome to come to the podium is our mayor, Mayor Lloyd Lightfoot.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Father Mike. It's fitting, of course, that we are here at St. Sabina because for too long, not because we want his tenure to end, but for too long he has been, in many instances, the sole voice talking about community safety. So it's great to be here with him and partner with the faith community of St. Sabina's, who is always doing everything possible to keep not only this community safe, but raise the consciousness of the rest of our city around issues of community safety. So thank you, Father Mike, and thank you to the St. Sabina family. We're here to officially launch an important program that will ensure that our residents have the tools that they need to make sure that their person and properties are protected. Joining me in this effort is Community Safety Coordination Center lead CCO Tamara Mahal, and she'll talk more specifically about the details. Director of Community Policing Glenn Brooks, and a 50-plus year resident of the Auburn Gresham community, Tony Curtis, not to be confused with the actor of the same name. One of the biggest lessons that we learned from COVID-19 is that we need to activate a number of city resources across city departments, programs, policies, and our community partners to adequately address the toll that public health crises take on our most vulnerable communities. Just like in COVID-19, violence also poses a significant threat to the safety and well-being of our residents. That's why we have taken a public health approach to community safety, to partner with community leaders and organizations who have been on the ground working to end violence for decades, and funnel as many resources as we can into addressing the causes and effects of violence. Today we are proud to add to the pool of resources with the official launch of the Home and Business Protection Program. The Home and Business Protection Program will empower residents with the tools that they need to feel safe by providing rebates of up to $1,020 to cover the cost of outdoor security cameras, 1 year of cloud storage for video footage, outdoor motion sensor lighting, vehicle GPS trackers, and subscription costs. So this is one-stop shopping for folks who want to make sure that their home and their property are protected. This program represents a $5.4 million investment over the next 2 years and is open to all Chicago residents, businesses, religious institutions, and nonprofit organizations. And renters are welcome to apply for the rebate program as well. All you have to do is just make sure that you get the consent of your property owner. The Home and Business Protection Program is a part of a larger strategy that includes historic investments in critical resources like affordable housing, mental health, violence reduction efforts, and more. Importantly, it will also complement the partnerships the city has forged with community-based organizations across our 15 priority communities to provide and install cameras and lighting on the properties for those who are most vulnerable to violence. In many of our engagements with residents across our city, we've heard from you that people want these kinds of resources, not only to protect their property, but to help their communities by solving crimes and increasing lighting. We hear this over and over again, community meetings, town halls, individuals who are telling us, these are the things that we need to help us feel safe. And I'm happy that we are responding to the needs of our residents and providing, at no cost to them, these valuable tools. Through the Home and Business Protection Program, we are answering their needs as well as reinforcing the fact that community safety requires an all-hands-on-deck approach, block by block, home by home. While registration of the cameras with the Chicago Police Department is not required for reimbursement, we strongly encourage people to do so, as the footage that they capture can be useful in helping the department during criminal investigations. But I'll also say this, the other important factor of having the cameras and the lighting is to deter crime before it even happens. Right. To deter crime. When somebody is looking at a house that's vulnerable, they're not going to pick a house that's got cameras, that's got lighting, and other things that the homeowner is proactively doing to protect themselves. So I want to thank Community Safety Coordination Center, CCO Tamara Mahal, the whole team, and all of the community members who are contributing every single day to helping us answer the basic question of what do you need to be safe in your community. We all have a role to play in making sure that we answer that question, that we step up and are helpful, and this Home and Business Protection Program takes us another step in the right direction. And now I'd like to welcome up Tamara Mahal to tell you more specific details about this new initiative. Tamara?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to Father Flager for hosting us today. The objective of the Home and Business Protection Program is to provide the tools needed for community members to feel safe and help secure their property. Starting today, residents and business owners can apply to be reimbursed for purchase costs the costs of outdoor security camera systems and associated cloud-based subscription and storage costs, outdoor motion sensor lighting fixtures, and vehicular GPS trackers and associated subscription costs. For those of you that may not be familiar with those, GPS tracking devices actually go up underneath the hood of your car and connect to your cell phone so you know where your car is at during different times, and this can be helpful in the instance of vehicular hijacking in helping police to quickly recover your vehicle and arrest the criminal. I want to note that the information and specifics I'm about to share can be found at chicago.gov/HBPP. Now, to be eligible for a rebate or a reimbursement, applicants must be the owner or tenant of a property used as a primary residence, business, religious institution, or nonprofit organization. I also want to make sure everyone understands condo associations are also eligible for the program. In the case of the vehicular GPS devices, you must own or lease a personal vehicle registered to a primary address in the city of Chicago. While self-contractors will be eligible for support of the GPS vehicular devices, businesses will not. All applicants must provide documentation verifying proof of purchase, installation of the device using photos, and proof of residency. Tenants are eligible, renters are eligible to receive rebates, but must receive permission from their building owner and to install the devices on their buildings, and will be required to attest that they have received that permission. Anyone who meets these eligibility criteria may receive reimbursement for up to $225 per camera for a maximum of 2 cameras, and 1 year of subscription costs for cloud-based video storage for a maximum of $150 per annual subscription. They're also eligible for reimbursement of up to $100 per outdoor motion sensor lighting fixture for a maximum of 2 lights, and up to $50 per vehicle GPS tracking device for a maximum of 2 devices, and 1 year of subscription costs for GPS tracking applications as required for use by those device manufacturers, up to $120. 2 GPS vehicular tracking devices, because we know that many residents have more than 1 car in their family. Only security devices purchased today or after will qualify for reimbursement. No rebates will be provided for private security equipment purchased prior to today. As mentioned earlier, the primary objective of this program is to provide the tools our residents and business owners need to feel safe. We also want to make sure that we remove barriers that prevent people from accessing this opportunity. We know that accessibility may be a barrier, and so we are working diligently to identify partners to help people with disabilities and senior citizens with device installation. We know that not everyone trusts government, and as such will not require the registration of camera systems with the Chicago Police Department to be eligible for reimbursement. We know that not everyone can afford the cost of these devices while waiting for reimbursement, so in the coming weeks, we will be partnering with community-based organizations to identify those in need in our 15 priority communities and install cameras and lighting, as well as providing additional opportunities for low-income residents. Information on these aspects of the program will be provided at a later date. I want to thank the community organizations and leaders that have been working with us over the last several months to engage and give us honest feedback about the different aspects of the program. We would not be here today without you. If you'd like more details on the program or to access the rebate application, again, please visit chicago.gov/HBPP. Now, to talk more about the benefits of voluntary camera system registration with the Chicago Police Department, I'd like to introduce Glenn Brooks, Director of Community Policing.
Thank you. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Mayor. Father Pfleger, thank you again for hosting us here. So it's very fitting that we're down in the church's meeting area. Every day throughout the city, our officers meet with community residents, whether that's at a beat meeting, whether that's at a block club meeting, whether that's a business association, chamber of commerce. And every day the community says, what can we do? It is one thing to have a great partnership, and we are very lucky in this city to have great partnerships with community members throughout all 77 neighborhoods. But it's another thing when you have a partnership in resources. Today, we are adding resources, and you know what that happens? That means we come up with solutions. Today is a solution that the community can empower itself to help itself remain safer. These cameras have transformed safety and our detectives' ability to help resolve cases. The ATC, which is our Area Technology Center, has really transformed our investigations and helped to lift our clearance rate throughout this city. This is one of the greatest things that has happened to the community partnerships throughout the city. The last time we even got close, we were ecstatic to get light bulbs for people's alleys and put a garage number on it. That was our big improvement in the early 90s. As trivial as it sounds today, it helped us reduce violence then. This partnership with resources will help us reduce violence. It will help us empower ourselves. It will help us be safer communities. And as we go forward, I encourage every block club, every beat meeting, every chamber of commerce, every two neighbors on a block who are concerned, get together and help your neighbors get some cameras. There's resources available. And as we go forward, if you have a camera today and you want to help, just go ahead and register. We're making progress, but we need some help. Registering your camera does not mean you get a paycheck from the Chicago Police Department. All it means is that you're willing to work with us to create safer neighborhoods. That's what we ask, and I want to thank you all for being here. Wait a second. Here's the most important person. It's our community resident, and that's Miss Tony. Miss Tony, you want to come on up? Y'all can give her a hand. She comes out. She's the one not getting paid. Thank you.
I didn't think I was going to be up here by myself, but I just want to say I really appreciate them selecting me to get this camera. I had every anticipation of buying one, but I was waiting for the program so I can get reimbursed because it's kind of expensive. I've lived in the neighborhood for 55 years, and this camera would not... This camera was not only help me and my safety, because I live alone, but also my neighbors, my neighborhood, my community. So thank you very much.
So let me just say a couple more things before we take your questions. Why we think this is important is for the reasons that Glenn said. It is one thing to have partnership, but if you're not coming to the table with resources and answering a specific need, then you're not really being responsive to our residents. We heard loud and clear from residents that this is something that they wanted, and we're here to make sure that we provide it. And I want to be clear, if you don't have the resources up front, don't worry, we will help you. If you're not able to do the installation yourself, don't worry, we're here to help you. We don't want ability to pay or ability to install to prevent people from taking advantage of this incredibly important initiative. We want everybody who wants a camera, who wants lighting, who wants a GPS tracker to be able to get it across our city, north, south, east, and west. So I hope people will take advantage of it. And with that, we're happy to answer your questions.
Thanks, Mayor. Members of the media, 2 questions per reporters. We'll kick it off in the first row with Mariah, Sun Times.
Hi, thank you.
Heather.
So following the first year of paid subscription, should residents expect to get later help with the next years?
Well, obviously, if there are residents who want to continue the program and aren't able to pay, then certainly we're going to work with them to do whatever we can. We want this to be something that they can depend upon for their home security, business security into the future.
And how long has this program been in the works?
Well, if I'm honest, it's been in the works for a while. I first actually learned about this possibility probably 2 years ago from Mayor Bowser in Washington, D.C. And she told me about it. They did it on a smaller scale, and I thought, this is something that we need in Chicago. And as we started engaging with residents, more and more people started raising this issue proactively. So I've been pushing my team, frankly, for some time, as Tamara can attest, to make sure that we get this up and running.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mariah. Taman, WGN.
Mayor, a bipartisan group of U.S. senators is exploring possibly raising the age to buy a certain type of weapon and also increasing funding for mental health resources. How disappointed would you be if that's all that the U.S. Senate can accomplish?
How should I answer this? Listen.
Clean up the language.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I just came back from the annual convening of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. And obviously, the terrible tragedies occasioned by people who should not have guns in their hands was a big topic of conversation. And I can tell you, I'm not the only mayor across this country that is extraordinarily frustrated by the lack of progress at the federal level. We've got to get the Senate to act. Just in the last few weeks, you think about the number of tragedies that we've seen here in Chicago, in Buffalo, in Tulsa, in Uvalde, over the weekend in Philadelphia and Chattanooga. It seems like almost a daily occurrence where we see violent, dangerous people and, frankly, children who have guns, and then a tragedy happens. As I've been saying now quite clearly, when a young person picks up a gun, it's only when, not if, a tragedy is going to strike. It is inconceivable to me that senators who are seeing these tragedies unfold in state after state, city after city, don't have a sense of consciousness and responsibility to do something. These are things that are happening for a reason, and we need the Senate to step up and act. At the U.S. Conference of Mayors, we act on a bipartisan basis all the time. I cannot conceive of a reason why, in the face of a national tragedy, in the face of the polling that shows 60 and 70% of the people support common sense gun reform, background checks, making sure that people who are too dangerous to fly can't get a gun, raising the age of a possession. First of all, we should do away with assault weapons, but if we can't get there, tell me that we We require kids to be 21 to drink alcohol, but you can walk in at 18 and buy a weapon of war. It makes no sense whatsoever. So incremental steps are not good enough, but if that's what it takes, we'll take that. But we're going to keep pushing and demanding more action.
Right.
Thanks, Mayor. We'll move on to Amy Pickens.
Good afternoon. Governor Kathy Hochul from New York just signed a bill moments ago raising the age to purchase a semi-automatic weapon from 18 to 21. Are you going to try to persuade Governor Pritzker or any other lawmakers to do the same here in Illinois?
I think we have to lead the nation. I mean, I was very proud. 2 weeks ago, we stood here and signed, I think, a comprehensive bill to ban ghost guns in our state and make sure that there's registration requirements. We have to lead. We have to lead. If we don't lead, we're going to be following others, and there's going to be continued tragedy. I don't believe that assault weapons should be in the possession of anybody who isn't a military person, who isn't law enforcement. It doesn't make any sense to me. We know exactly what happens when those kinds of weapons are in the hands of dangerous people or children on our streets. Tragedy follows, no question whatsoever. So we should lead on those issues and a number of others. But look, here's the issue. We can be as comprehensive as we want as a state, but if everyone around us in particular doesn't follow suit, that's Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa is a huge challenge for us, Michigan. If they don't all follow suit, then guns travel. They don't respect geographic boundaries. We know that because we see the number of guns that pour over the border from other states into Chicago. That's why we need federal legislation. That's the key. The federal government is uniquely qualified to do a number of things that can't be done at the state or local level. We need the federal government to act. We can't take them off the hook. We've got to keep pressing for the Senate to act. The House has done its part. The Senate needs to get together, and it needs to act. I'm told there's productive discussions, but I hope and pray on behalf of our residents that it's true.
All right, as you know, 3 law enforcement officers, a U.S. Marshal, 2 Chicago police officers have been shot in the past 7 days. According to Superintendent Brown, there's a different mentality on the streets these days. What is it, and what has changed to make people, do you think, feel so emboldened to shoot at police?
Look, we've been seeing this building over the last few years, and one of the officers that was shot last week was in full uniform in a marked squad car. The officer who was shot over the weekend was a TACT officer, so in plain clothes, but we've seen an exponential increase in the number of police officers in Chicago that have been shot at by residents who are feeling emboldened. Well, you know, look, I think it's a couple of things. If people don't feel like there's going to be accountability for their actions, they're going to continue to be emboldened and brazen. This is why I've been so clear and consistent in saying we don't want to turn Cook County Jail into a debtor's prison. Nobody thinks that that's a good idea. We shouldn't be locking up nonviolent individuals just because they can't afford to pay a bail. But given the exacting standards that the state's attorney has for charging a case, which is proof beyond a reasonable doubt, when those charges are brought, these people are guilty. And of course, they're entitled to a presumption of innocence. Of course, they're entitled to their day in court. But residents in our community are also entitled to safety from dangerous people. So we need to keep pressing the criminal courts to lock up violent, dangerous people and not put them out on bail or electronic monitoring back into the very same communities where brave souls are mustering the courage to come forward and say, this is the person who is responsible. That undermines safety. It tells the victims that there's no justice for them, and it undermines the legitimacy of the criminal courts. If we hold violent, dangerous people accountable, we will see a significant drop in the violence in our cities. But when you've got somebody who's accused of murder, attempted murder, rape, kidnapping, carjacking, as is now, these people are walking the streets right now, today, in our communities because our criminal courts are not doing their job and taking into consideration the danger to the community. When somebody's got a rap sheet as long as my arm, and then they've committed another act of violence, They are a danger to the community by definition and should be held pre-trial. I'm going to keep talking about that because that's absolutely essential to bring peace to our communities. No one is going to feel safe as long as those folks are back out in the street 24, 48 hours later after they go through bond court. It's madness, and it doesn't make sense, and we've got to keep sending the message to the criminal court judges that they have an absolutely essential role to play in community safety. All of the efforts that we're trying to accomplish here, all of the resources that we're putting in to strengthen community, all of the partnerships that we're building will be for naught if violent, dangerous people are not held accountable. And that means holding them pre-trial.
Thanks, Mayor. John Garcia, ABC.
I guess I don't have to introduce myself then. Thank you.
Hey, John.
Mayor, can you talk a little bit more about the finances for this program? I think you mentioned $5.4 million
Yes.
would be the cap for it. Do you have an objective or a goal as to how many households you'd like to see install these security measures?
We'd like to see as many households as possible. Obviously, we're putting a heavy emphasis on the 15 communities that we've been working in since last fall, but we want people all over the city to take advantage of this. You know, we held a series of public safety town halls earlier this spring, and I remember being on the north side at one of the community colleges, and there was a significant amount of interest in north side residents as well. This is an issue of community safety that is animating kitchen table conversations, breakfast table conversations. People want to feel safe. And so all over our city, we want to make sure that we're listening, that we're being responsive, and that we're providing the resources that it's going to take. So we're starting out with 5.4, but if we see a significant uptake and we need to put more resources into it, we definitely will. I'll be asking the City Council for more resources for sure.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Mayor, thank you very much. That's a wrap, everyone.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Will. Oh, there you go. Sorry. Yeah, sure, of course.
So Chicagoans are struggling to keep up with, the skyrocketing costs of gas, food, and other things. What is the city doing to help people cover those basic needs as well?
Well, a number of things. First and foremost, you know that we started a program to give people gas cards, $150. It's about 2 tanks of gas. We know that going into the summer months, gas prices always rise, so we want to make sure that we meet that need. In addition to that, we're providing people with CTA transit cards because we also want to encourage people to ride the CTA and help us lower our carbon footprint. So that's 2 things. In addition to that, we've launched our targeted financial assistance, a $31 million pilot program. We aim to serve 5,000 families with $500 a month per year to help them really, I think, shoulder the challenges that a lot of families are facing with rising costs, but also people are in crisis living paycheck to paycheck. We want to make sure that we're meeting those needs. In addition to that, we have a number of other programs that we have employed to really meet the immediate need that people have right now. In the longer term, obviously, what we're working on is making sure that we're bringing economic development and good jobs to communities all over our city so that people have the ability to get a job that isn't just a subsistence earning, but really one where they can build wealth, they can pay their bills, hopefully look at home ownership. So there's a number of different things that we're doing and have been doing for quite some time because we know, particularly coming out of the pandemic, that a lot of individuals and families are struggling. We've done a lot with emergency rental assistance. We've done things to help small businesses. Our small business resiliency loan, that's a loan fund, that's a $100 million fund. We can get you more specifics, but we have really tried to meet people where they were through this economic crisis occasioned by the downturn in the economy because of the pandemic-related closures.
And do you have an update on what progress the Park District is making on hiring guards for city indoor and outdoor pools this summer?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, do you have an update on the Park District Do you have any updates on the progress that the Park District is making to hire lifeguards for indoor and outdoor pools this summer?
Yeah, it's still a challenge, and I encourage anyone who wants to sign up either as a full-time lifeguard or a junior lifeguard to apply. Our beaches obviously are open. They opened over Memorial Day weekend, but we want to make sure that our pools all across the city are open. We need to get about 100 more lifeguards. We're providing $500 stipends. We can get you a specific update, but if you want a summer job, not only will you get paid a really nice salary, but we're going to give you $500 in addition to that to be a lifeguard with the Chicago Park District. We need you. If you can swim, we can train you.
Thank you, Mayor. That's a wrap, everyone.
Thank you.